Hello everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at another new in box area light. This one I picked up a couple days ago at the Restore for $8, and it's, well, still in its original box. It has definitely been opened before, and I think some of the documentation is missing, but pretty much everything is still inside. I've been surprised lately at finding these new in-box area lights at thrift stores and restores. Haven't found anything real good like this in a while, but this was definitely a surprise to find at the restore. It seems like over the winter months, there's not much that shows up worth getting, but here it's spring, people are cleaning out what they have in their houses and garages and wherever else, and things are showing up again, so that's very exciting. So, as you can tell, when we took a look at the front of the packaging here, it is yet another Electripak security light. 175 watt Mercury vapor. We already took a look at one of these that I picked up at a local thrift store a while back, but it was a slightly different package that the Electripak light was in that we took a look at last time. I want to say this one is probably older than that one that we took a look at. Now, they do have dates on these. As you can see here at the top in the ship to, we have 03/11 of 1993 was when this was manufactured. I don't remember the date of the other one that we looked at, but I want to say it was like 95 or something like that. So, of course, we're going to unbox this light, set it up, and demonstrate it. But first, we need to unbox it. So let's take a look at the box itself. On the top here, of course, it says Compact Decorative Yard Light, model R175M. And there was a label here that fell off, and I have that inside to keep with it, but we'll take a look at that in a second. And of course, on the top, we have different examples. They have outdoor lighting, power strips, decorative, outdoor electrical, and wiring. And on the front of the box, of course, we have this giant sticker here, but you can see it is colored underneath. We have a red stripe on the top, and the front is colored black. Heavy duty utility security light. I believe this picture was on the other package as well, and I think this is bigger. I think this was up here in the other package. You'd have to look at the thumbnail of that other video. I haven't looked at it in a minute, but I do remember taking a glance at it when I first picked this up, and this is definitely a different style front image here on the box. Of course, all of our other information we've already seen. On this side of the packaging, we have all the reasons why you don't want to use your 150 watt incandescent yard light. Of course, the dual floodlight. Those are very useful. Of course, now you can put LED or CFL or anything else in there, really. But that's what they were trying to give an example of you replacing back in the day. The one that I think is absolutely funny here is using it as a porch light. This thing would be gigantic as a porch light. It would look comical as can be. Up on a pole, you know, on your backyard, or here, this guy's gonna come and get you. There he is, but the light is chasing him away. So somehow, you know, he's upset that you have this bright light outside, and just look at his face. You know, he's upset that you have that, so he's coming after you now. On the back of the package, we have other information, again comparing it to two 150 watt incandescent floodlight bulbs, and of course different mounting heights here and how much light you receive. On the other side, we have all the information about the fixture itself, and let's see, I don't see anything of too noteworthiness other than basic information here. Wonderful picture and imagery. I don't know if there's much on the bottom. Assembled in Mexico, but I think it said that on the top as well. Yep, we have a sticker for it right there. Okay, the time has come to open it up, so let's see what we have inside. Okay, we have some tape. I think that was falling off when I was getting it at the restore, and I couldn't find a garbage can, so I just put it in here. Okay, I want to reach right for the bulb, but we'll get to that in a second. Here is our refractor assembly. It does have the little bump in it there, and let's take a quick look. The bump is in the back in this picture. I want to say in the last one we were taking a look at, they had the bump in the front, and I mean that's the whole, it's not supposed to go there. This bump goes in the back to kind of cover up a little air intake or electrical hole. That's why there's this little bump out right here in the refractor assembly. And we can take a better look at that here. Thankfully, unlike the last one that we took a look at, this one is in much better shape. We do have a little bit of crack here, but it doesn't seem to have separated yet. And it seems to be coated in some type of either oil or something in there. You see that? It's like some type of glue. Very interesting. Yeah, it definitely looks like a glue because it goes around the edges inside. Odd. Okay, but yes, that is the back. So let's set that aside and return to our packaging here. Now we'll take a look at the bulb. Mercury lamp. Philips, made in USA. Some different catalog numbers here for what was on the market at the time. As you can kind of see sticking out the top here, it is a clear bulb. Wonderful. Let's see, we'll try to get a nice view of the etch here. Maybe if I put it with the cardboard as the background. So there we go. Very clean etch as well. Definitely still a lifeguard bulb. It has the wonderful big electrodes in there, as you can see. And it looks like we have a number on the stem press down here as well. What is that, 2G or 26? And a B on the other side. Nice brass base. We do have a date on here. Manufactured August of 1992. Usually, the date's stamped right here, but I suppose that was a Westinghouse thing, and now that it's not Westinghouse and not Philips Westinghouse, it's just Philips. But we still have the wonderful carton here. Beautiful bulb, definitely worth the $8. Next, we have the little card here, and it's definitely been sitting in here a minute. You can see the outline of the, the look of the reflector assembly sitting on there. On the back, we have our free Electripak electrical products catalog. Boy, that would be really cool to find. Because let's take a very close look at this. There's some very interesting fixtures here I don't think I have ever seen before. What is that? And that. There's some very interesting fixtures here. Of course, we do have, that little square one there. And there's a jelly jar and a wall pack. But like that area light and that one right there. And that kind of looks familiar, but it looks a little different at the same time. Very interesting products they have on this image here that I don't think I've ever seen before. Especially these two. That'd be cool to find an Electripak catalog. So that's the information that you can fill out and send in for them. Very nice. Okay, we have a cardboard insert here. And we have the head itself. So we have, does it say American Electric here on the top? Indeed it does. American Electric photocell socket, makes sense. There's the same date as on the box. Inside we have the beautiful big Mercury vapor ballast. Look at that thing. Beefy. I love it. We have the UL sticker here on the side, and it's been on here for quite a while. I don't know. No, it's not going to come off easily. So we're just going to let it be. I thought, maybe it's starting to peel up. Maybe we can get it off all the way and preserve it a different way, but it's just going to have to stay there. It's not wound perfectly, but it's much better than the Chinese-made ballasts that we had at the very end of the Mercury Vapor Area Light era. And again, we have Electripak and all of the information. 3.3 amps, H39 lamp, 175 watt, 120 volt. Very nice label there. And I thought it was interesting that this was already screwed on here. Usually this is in a little kit and you'd install it yourself. But no, it's on here, and there's definitely a lot of some type of oil or stickiness on this bolt as well. Okay, let's set that aside. Still have some things in here. Well, there is some information in the bottom. I thought that was missing. We also have a very nice cobweb and some little bugs. Let's take a look at this photocell here. It says 6401 Fisher Pierce, 06 of 1992. And look at this little tiny clear thing. That is so cool. I know I've seen these out and about. They're not the more modern clear ones. It's a little smaller than that. In fact, I might have a modern size one to compare this with. Let me look. So here's a more modern style one that you can pick up at the store nowadays. This one was used from the Restore. But you can see how similar this one is. It's much smaller, at least the dome area is. But that is so cool. Okay, what else do we have inside? Well, we have our mounting bolts here and some screws and washers for putting on the reflector assembly. And we have our bottom cardboard. Oh, here we go. This is the sticker that was in the ship to area. Eagle Hardware and Garden. My friend's father, I believe, used to work for Eagle Hardware, and he told me that they eventually turned into Lowe's out here. So that's cool to have. Limited warranty information. There we have diagrams. And, oh, I like this, a nice mounting real size so you can get it started before you bring the heavy thing up there. Very nice. The only thing it's missing is the little piece of paper that has the different fixtures on it. I guess that's why you would mail this in and get a, a catalog. Very cool. Maybe there's a digital version of that somewhere. It'd be very neat to find. Okay, so that's everything inside of the box here. We'll just close that up and set it aside. It's in very good shape, actually. Of course, our cardboard inserts. We got our head itself, our lamp, photocell, refractor assembly, and mounting hardware. This is just more cardboard. There's our Eagle Hardware sticker. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we'll get started at assembly. The first thing we're going to focus on is wiring up the fixture itself here. So I'll move these items aside. And we'll have to take off these two bolts here that are holding on this cover. Now, the interesting thing with these bolts is they look very familiar to me. It looks like the exact same bolts that American Electric uses inside of their street lights for the clamps that clamp down onto the arm that comes in. I'm sure it's a standard part within their system, and they just use them here as well. Now, you can also put a brace across this and tighten them down with these exact same bolts and mount it to an arm, as we do have the curve here to accommodate for it. But we're just going to let it be the way it is and mount it using the triangular plate here on the end. So, of course, no matter what, we need to take these off. And you think I could remember what size these are. And I think they're a little bigger than a half. It's not 7/16. Watch, it probably is a half. Indeed it is. So we'll start taking these off, and I think I'm going to use something different than this. This is a much better option, as we don't have to wait around. Ooh, it is a tight one. Whoa! Yeah, that is tight. Okay, maybe we'll get it started by hand, I suppose. Goodness gracious. That's a very tight one. There we go. Wow. Boy, they really got it on there at the factory. Okay, so we have our access cover here. And we're going to move out this little knockout here. We're going to use that as our wire inlet. I don't know why I'm setting it back in here, to be honest. So we need a little connector to go in here. Here we are. So we'll take this off and get it installed. A nice cord restraint. I usually turn it a little bit, and you can get it to line up nicely enough without using tools to tighten it. There we go. That looks, it's not, perpendicular, but or parallel, but we'll go with it. It's perfectly fine for what we're doing. Okay, one thing I did is that they had this black wire coming out this side and then looping over. And now I now have it coming out from underneath down there, because there's no reason for it to come out that way. And we have a very long neutral here. So we'll take these wires, twist them together since they're stranded, make them one unit. And we have some extra fiberglass stuff going on here. Just for a clean look, we'll get rid of it. Best we can anyway. There we go. Okay, now we need to find a cord to put on it. And here's our cord of choice, another appliance cord. I get a absolute ton of these from work. As you can see, this one is quite dirty, so I'll have to get this warning tag off of here. We don't need that anymore. And we'll need to clean this wire up. So there we go, a nice appliance cord for our use. Now the nice thing about these is you don't need to really strip off any casing. They're just together here. So we'll just come along, and we don't need that in there anymore. And we'll just separate these. I usually come along and just kind of clip on either side. We have our ground wire in the middle. Usually that does separate. There we go. So we have two little ribbons. And I usually take one on either side. Pull them apart. There we go. And then I'll pull these down. And we'll cut those off because we do not need them. There we go. Okay, so there's our wire. We will feed that through here. This thing's dirty. Okay, now we need to strip these wires. So we'll get our wire stripper, and we'll get it about, I try to do about so much. I don't really have a specific length for that. I just kind of eyeball it. And of course we have our ground, which is important. We will use that. Sometimes I do the ground a little bit more, depending on where it's going, if it's going to get looped around a wire, or I mean a screw. Now, there is a screw that should go here, and that would be our ground. The ground would go around that. Now, it doesn't look like it is a threaded hole, so maybe I'll see if I have a self-threading or tapping wire, or screw rather, to put there that we can put this on to properly ground it. However, sometimes I find a ground wire that I can attach here and loop into this as well. But I think what I'm going to do is see what one would be the best option. Looking through the bin of screws here, I was able to find a Phillips head screw that would fit in there perfectly fine. So I already put it in there once to start making the threads. It fit perfect, really. So we'll use that for our ground. And of course we need something to wire this up, and we did not get any wire nuts included. Again, something that it may have had back in the day. And you know what, just looking at this here, we do have a ground screw. So I'm just getting ahead of myself. Should have looked in our little package here. Well, you know what, I already made threads in it for this screw, so we're just going to use that. But we do have this nice little, it's like a washer that has its ends curved over to help hold the wire underneath it. Let's see if that will fit over this screw, because I'm not going to remake the threads in this here. It doesn't make any sense to do that because it is a different threaded screw. But we definitely can see if that works, and that works absolutely fine. Okay, so, well, there's our ground screw that we don't need anymore. Now we need some wire nuts. On these wires, we have a flat side and a ribbed side. Our flat side is the positive, or the black wire here. So we will come along and twist these together. And then we'll take our wire nut, put that over it, and twist it together. You want to twist until you feel the wire starting to twist on the outside here, which you can see. And I usually give it a little tug to make sure it's not coming out. Okay, the ribbed side of the wire is our neutral. So you can kind of feel or see the ribs on the outside of the wire here. Being our neutral, we'll put it with our white wire. We'll twist those together. And again, we'll bring a wire nut in. put that on, wire it up until we start to get that little twist going on there. A little tug to make sure we got a good connection. It's not coming out. Okay, now we'll move on down to our ground screw here. And we need to get this ground wire bent like so and around the screw. Now, to be honest, I think the easiest way to do this is take the screw off. And it looks like it needs to be twisted together a little bit more. These strands are starting to come apart. So let's put our screw around the wire here, and you can see that open side of the washer. Now this is probably made for solid copper core wire, not this stranded wire, so we'll see how well it works. Being that this wire might not smush the same, and I don't think it will. This might not work correctly. Nope, it's coming out. So instead, we're going to take this back off. And I'm not going to use that washer, because that's really there, I feel, for if it's a thicker wire, which this is not. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. Wire's nice and snug on there. It's not coming out. Give it another twist. That's as tight as it's going to get. So now we have everything wired up. Wonderful. So let's bring our cover back down here. And we don't need much for wire inside of the assembly here. So let's just kind of test fit it a little bit and see what we end up with. Now the reason I'm putting some of this wire up in here is because there's plenty of it. It's not going to hurt anything. So it seems to be okay fitting like so. So let's tighten this up. We got that adjusted. So let's put this cover back on. We'll set it here and make sure none of the wires are pinched anywhere. We have a little opening for the ground, so that's good. And we'll take our bolts here and put them back in, not tightening them as tight as they had them the first time. There's definitely some type of grease on this bolt for sure. You know, I don't know what's going on with this one over here. This is the one that was incredibly tight, and oh, it feels like it's cross-threading when it's getting put in. I don't really like that. Let's try this bolt instead, see if we get a different result. I don't know, it's still threading at somewhat of an angle. Well, let me take a deeper look. Not entirely sure what we were getting hung up on this side, but we'll definitely get it tightened down here. We're not going to do it overly tight. We just need it snug. There we go. And we got it all wired up. Now we need to put our refractor assembly on. Before we put the refractor assembly on, I want to see if I can get off any of this yellow glue stuff. We're just going to try some water again. I don't really think it'll do much of anything, but we'll give it a try. No, it's not really doing anything at all. So that's not going to help. And I don't really think any cleaner would do anything either, because really it seems to be some type of glue. So you know what? We're just going to let it be. So we have two holes, 1, 2, and they line up with these holes right here. This bump needs to go into the back. And there we go. So inside we can see where the holes line up. We'll take one of our screws and a provided washer here and go down in and line that up. Okay, now we just need to tighten it down the rest of the way. I don't think any of this is lining up. Oh, no, I could feel that one start. There we go. They're both started. Again, we don't need it on too high of a setting. We just need it snug, not overly tight. And there's our assembled area light. Of course, we have our wonderful clear photocell here that we will install. Now normally you would want this pointing north, so how you would do that is you loosen the screw on the top. In this case it is a flathead, and once that is loosened you should be able to twist this into the desired north position. Now I usually just have it facing straight out because usually you're going to have this thing against a wall. So we'll just tighten that back up. That locks it in place. Now we will take our photocell, line up the big plug, push it down, and twist it into place. There we go. Of course, last but not least, we have our wonderful bulb here. So let's take that out and we will install it. Again, nothing too tight. Now I have a feeling this is one of those fixtures where the bulb is going to stick out below the refractor. Let's take a look. And we'll make it even here. Where is it? There we go. Yep, it certainly does. That's pretty common on these. Now we just need to mount it up and we'll enjoy it turning on. Get this up here on these two screws and we'll get this one started. Should be. There we go. Now we just got to turn it on. Okay, we'll set it up here as if we were looking at it from down below, installed outside. And now we'll turn it on in 3, 2, 1. What an absolute beautiful blue-green color. I love this blue color right at startup here. Beautiful. Oh, what a beautiful turquoisey color. Nice and quiet too. So, we'll let it warm up. Okay, so we're finally leveling out on the lux meter down here. So let's see how well it's lighting everything up. Again, absolutely beautiful blue-green color from this clear mercury vapor bulb. So let's back up here and we'll take a look at it lighting up the darker side of the room because the other side, of course, has a window. And it's casting a very nice light blue color. Of course, the camera's picking it up more as a green tinted color. But again, a very beautiful mercury vapor light. Okay, let's see what the lux meter has to say. Yeah, it's just hovering around here. 136 lux. We're about 5 feet away, the lux meter is, from the light itself. Of course, we'll get a look at the bulb. Very nice and quiet. Absolutely beautiful fixture. Okay, let's go ahead and see it cool down. Here we go. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, taking a look at this Electripak 175 watt mercury vapor area light, a older designed box. Love finding these things, especially new old stock. Very cool, putting them together and turning them on after all these years. Once again, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and also please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching.